Good afternoon, everyone. This is Mike Hogan from Jeffersonville, Indiana, bringing you your post-trading report for Tuesday, April 12th, 2016. Looking at where the board closed today, we have corn up about 6 cents across the board, beans roughly up 7 to 8 cents, and wheat up 4 to 5 cents. Today was a big USDA, well, not a big USDA report day, but it was a report day. Prior to today's report, we did have some info out last night on planting pace, good to excellent numbers in wheat, etc. Planting pace on corn was right where it should be, right at the 5-year average of about 4%. So not really much of a market mover. It looks like we're going to have some pretty decent weather for about the next week or so before the next shot of rain comes into the general Midwest. But should give us 7 to 8 straight days of good planting weather as we move along here. So again, nothing really to fear from that standpoint. Today, besides being a report day, also was pretty much viewed as a good technical trading day as well. So as many know, this report is probably not one of the blockbuster ones of the year. The April report, it's kind of caught in between the March 31st stocks and acreage report and really this planting window that's upcoming, where you have a lot more just what's happening with the planting. Are there any planting delays? Is it going smoothly? Is weather starting to build into the forecast, etc.? Those types of things. So this report is generally much ado about nothing. But for the most part, I think we did see a nice rally today, and most of that was technically based. Getting to that report, we did see ending stock figures out. Corn was at about 1.862 billion bushels. That compares to the March number at 1.837 billion bushels. So a tinge on the bearish side there. Soybeans were probably a little bit more positive. They saw 445 million bushels in ending stocks versus 460 in March. And wheat was pretty much neutral, 976 million bushels versus 966 in March. So again, maybe a slight bit of bearishness towards corn, slight bit of bullishness towards beans, neutral towards wheat. But overall, I'd say the report really didn't say much. World ending stock numbers, they all did increase again this month, even though it was a slight increase across the board. Last month we were watching as we saw the first decrease in what seemed like an eon in those world ending stock numbers, but again, we built here a little bit. Most of the foreign figures that we looked at, we saw most of the South American figures stay steady or increase a little bit as well. So overall, I'd say a very neutralized report. Again, technically is probably what was moving the trade today. We did bounce off of our downtrend line that has been established after the USDA report was out in March 31st. We bounced off that. We're trying to recover to the breakout point, which is basically the 365 to 370 area that occurred during that report, which was bearish towards corn. At least the reaction was bearish towards corn. Beans continuing to break out. They're eyeing a 950 gap that is left on the charts. We're in the mid 930s right now. So wheat's continuing just to be sluggish and kind of peeing around between what was bearish corn and bullish beans for a little bit here. But overall, I think for the most part, we're going to see corn continue to try to trend towards that 365 to 370 area in the next couple of days trade. We're going to see beans target that 950 gap area, I would believe. Wheat, I would think it's going to be pretty tough for it to move out of that 450 to 460 band. 475 would be your upside target if you're looking out there, but again, I think that's going to be tough sledding overall, as I think corn is just kind of kicking back in here for the time being, especially with good planting weather ahead for us. So again, even though report day, probably nothing major, I'd say most of the moves are more technical in nature on that, but they were positive, so that's always a good news that we look at for today. We'll be back tomorrow with some more news and show you what the markets are doing then. Again, this is Mike Hogan from Jeffersonville, Indiana. All the comments made here are my own and not those of CGB Enterprises or any of its affiliated companies. Thanks. Have a great day.